All right, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the AI Thoughts podcast. I am super excited because I've got two of my legit favorite people here with me today. So I will let them introduce themselves, although I'm sure that neither one of them needs introduction. We'll start off with you, Beck.
All right, good. Thank you, because I don't want to have to go after the illustrious Mr. Marcus J Carey. So, my name is Rebekah Skeete. As Tennisha mentioned, most people refer to me as Beck. I am the Chief Operating Officer for BlackGirlsHack. I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things, but specifically for this call today, I have a Flavor Flav role to just throw a couple yeah boys and hype up two fantastic people as they talk about all things AI. All right, Mr. Carey, kick it to you.
All right, how y'all doing? I'm Marcus Carey, and I appreciate y'all having me. I definitely been looking to talk about AI and all that stuff. So in the past, I think I'm kind of known for Tribe of Hackers book series, and I've been all about trying to get people into cybersecurity and trying to get people educated, and so I'm looking forward to the discussion today. At the same time, I've also been like crazy into AI. Definitely over the last year and a half, I've been building tons of different applications, leveraging LLMs. I've been doing a little bit of training and things of that nature as well on AI models. And yeah, I'm really excited. I think we're living in the future and happy to share.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you spent the last 2 years pretty much engulfed in everything AI. What does that look like for you as a hacker? I guess has it changed the way that you're doing things that you would normally be doing, or um, is it just new technology? You just staying up on your skills?
Well, I tell you, in life, and when I say hacker, I definitely mean I'm a builder and breaker, and I code a lot of full stack applications, and I've done over the last couple of years. Definitely, I've written malware, and when I write malware, it's just for testing, right? And write ransomware, doing all those different things. And back in the day, it used to be hard to do that, right? So, but now you can actually you can ask a LLM how to write code now. Um, so I've been using LLMs in every aspect of my life, and I encourage everybody to use it in every aspect of their life. As far as like fitness, diet, health, coding. You know, there's tons of applications that I think that we're at this point where we're almost like, I think you would call it, is it a cyborg where we can be part machine and part human? I think that that's where we need to take this, and that's what I think of the AI stuff right now, is that it can actually help you out with anything that you want to do, any endeavor that you want to do. Um, you can use some of these, the people very familiar with Chat GPT. I use that stuff like every day in my life, and so it's made me smarter. It's given me more information, and from being, I tell everybody I'm super hood, so I'm and where I'm from, you don't have access to information. And what I really love about this Chat GPT and all this stuff, and Wikipedia before that, and all the stuff available on YouTube, is that the information is free. There used to be a saying called "information wants to be free," and so even with a free GPT account, you can interact with GPT 3.5, and it's really good. With paid, if you want to pay, I pay for the premium membership, and so I get access to four, and it's amazing. And also, there's plenty of models that you can do for free now that you can use. And I can talk to y'all about that on how to use that stuff for free too. But we're living in the future. I think that this is an amazing time to be alive, and I'm just really happy and blessed that I'm here to see this all, because I'm a tech at my heart. Since I was 8 years old, I saw war games. I wanted to use AI, and I wanted to talk to machines. And so now we're at that point. It took a long time to get here, but almost 40 years later, uh, you know, and I'll be 50 next year, and I'm happy that for my 50th birthday, um, we got AI here. This is like I dreamt when I was 8 years old, saw war games. I was all about that life. Now that I'm 50, almost 50, I'm living that life now. It's crazy.
You sound super excited about AI, and I think that depending on who you talk to, you will probably end up on either side of that spectrum. It will either be you're super excited about the possibilities, or I think on the other side, and we talked about this on our first episode where we're talking about extinction level events and the ability for AI to basically lead to the end of, society and humanity as we know it. It sounds like you're solidly on the side of excitement. Do you have concerns like from when you think about the I guess the ethical and or the bias that are inherent to AI as we know it today? Do you have concerns about that, or you're just like, hey, this is about to make the best war games ever?
Well, so here's what I think about it. And speaking as a black man, raised in the deep south, we've had to worry about prejudice, bias, and all these things all our life, you know. And the thing that really with technology that trips me out, and hopefully I don't be too controversial on these takes because I'm just gonna spit, you know me. So the thing that tripped me out about it is that these tools are going to be used rather, they're going to be used. So how can the good people leverage this? This is a tool. It can be used for bad or good, just like hacking. I create ransomware. What do I create ransomware? I create it so my customers at my work can actually see if they can detect and defend against ransomware, right? And the other person, oh, you should never create ransomware. You should never create that stuff, right? So there's a lot of people, especially when it comes to black people. I think sometimes we get scared of stuff, uh, and we let fear. Oh, it's going to be biased. It's trained on all this stuff, and and some AI is racist and all this other stuff. I'm like, bro, like we got to get into the party and start using the stuff because we got to be in the room. We have to be in the room when the stuff is being built. You feel me? So
Facts.
we need black women, black men, all kind of whatever you identify as, like whatever you want to make sure that there's no bias against your community. You got to be at the table. And I tell people all the time, I mentor a lot of kids, a lot of black young men. I say sometimes, like I was at this thing recently, and there was this networking event after this thing I was at, and so I was looking, hey brothers, y'all gonna come to this thing with me, and I'm coming, and they're like, no, I'm not gonna go, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, like you get invitations to the room, and you don't go to the room. Like, why we complain about not being in the room? So what I would say is that do research like you're doing. You're doing the research. You're doing studying. You're going to be writing papers on this and all that stuff. So I know I'm not. Yes, there's going to be evil people that use evil stuff, but there has to be some good people in the room, and we can use it for good stuff. Yeah, they're going to create bad stuff. Let's create some good stuff with it. That's what I look at every aspect of life, fam. Whether it's blockchain, any kind of thing, any kind of technology. I think technology for the most part is agnostic, you know. And if stuff is biased, it's because human history, if we train on, hundreds of years of data, that some of that data may be like racist data or in other things, right? Like some bad stuff said about black people. That's a human problem, bro. Let's train it with some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like let's get some good stuff in there. And any reflections or any kind of racist stuff is a reflection of humans. I think humans are the problem, really. So, and maybe people are scared that AI is going to figure that out and go ham.
I would say yes. People are afraid, and I think it's interesting to not say that the concerns aren't legitimate. They're not. Yes, there will be some biases, but then to your point, what are you going to do about it? So it's not to say, hey, discredit what your concerns are. It's what are you doing to combat said concerns? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'm totally all right. So I'm totally on board with safety for anything, right? And even I come from military background, and even in a corporate background, OSHA, you got to protect humans. You can't have people in factories working around machines going to kill them or hazardous work conditions. 100% human life first and foremost. But my thing is like when people try to, you're not going to slow down this train, right? You're not slowing this down. This is happening. You need to adjust as fast as you can to the current situation. That's all I'm saying. Of course, people are going to use it for evil. People are going to use it to steal money. People going every possible bad thing is probably going to happen. But on the upside, what's all the good things that's going to happen through this? Like now I can create curriculum. I can use AI to create curriculum to teach Black girls how to code. You know, I can do all kind of awesome stuff. There's going to be medical breakthroughs that come through. Like, come on now, this is ridiculous. I literally have. There's ton. If I wanted to start a new company, I'm a Black woman or Black male or any kind of minority. Now I got marketing help at my fingertips. Like all the help that you could possibly need. You know, forget going to the SBA and doing and paying somebody or meeting some. Not do it with freaking AI. This is a force multiplier, and it's changing. It's changing our lives. I am so happy. I've been waiting for this since the 3rd grade. For real.
I love the joy.
I am so happy. Everybody should be this happy about this.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% looking at it from the perspective of, you know, what the possibilities could be. And I get your point that, you know, given that it's out there, it's no stopping it. You know, you can either use it for good or you can use it for evil. And you're like, you know, hey, let's expand those use cases for the good uses and figure out ways that it can make us better. And that's part of what I'm trying to do for my research for my dissertation is to take a look at, you know, when we're talking about offensive security and training future red teamers of the world, what does that look like in a world where you have ChatGPT? I think we've got like some episodes coming up where we're going to talk about it in education as a whole. But, you know, do you, even given your optimism on the subject, do you think that it makes you a better hacker? Do you think it's going to make hackers better at their jobs? Or do you think it's going to be, you know, maybe script kiddies where it's like, hey, I don't have to learn as much. I don't have to struggle as much because, you know, at this point I can have the computer do all of the things for me.
Yeah. So there's going to be people that do the latter half of what you said. They're going to try to let it do it. But what I found, and I'm so lucky, I'm really blessed because I got this never-ending fire to learn in me, and so what I found is that even when it comes to using Google, the more I know about something, the better Google results I'm going to get. You feel me? Right? So, and then the more I learn, it opens up these little other search terms that I can actually use those search terms. But it's me learning, right? Mm-hmm. The same thing with AI. The more you know, the more better, intelligent questions you're going to be able to ask it. And it's like a snowball. And that's how it is with Google. But now it's the same thing with a YouTube search. Oh, I know more about this thing. Now I can search YouTube for that. Mm-hmm. When I talk, it's like when you have a conversation, when you first got into cybersecurity, if you were talking to somebody who was a cybersecurity person, most of the stuff would be over your head. But as you learn, you can have a conversation at that level. So I'm thinking the better you get, the better results and outcomes you get from AI. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. So if you still have to be a beast, like I'm a beast, right?
Mm-hmm. Can't confirm.
Me and AI, it's unfair. It's totally unfair. So all those people out there that you're going to get those people to get AI to try to do your job. But if AI can do your job, you're going to be replaced by AI. But if you can get more stuff out of the AI, I can ask AI way better questions than some security intern somewhere. I'm going to be able to ask it like specific stuff about specific use cases, and it rises to the level of the user. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking it some crazy stuff. Hey, I need a function to do this and that, blah, 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 like that. And I need to do that with the memory and all this stuff. They don't even know that stuff. They can't ask that question to AI. So it's not going to magically give it to them. Right. So my thing is when education, and I'm a lifelong learner, and that's been, I tell people all the time, poorest kid I knew growing up, 100% poorest kid I knew, went to the military, ended up getting my, military educated the heck out of me, did a master's degree in information security or whatnot. So, but all that learning, it's like a snowball because I learn more. Now I can Google better. I can look for YouTube stuff better. Now I can use AI better than anybody. And hopefully I don't sound cocky or anything like that. Some people are gonna think I'm cocky, but hey, that you gotta be on your stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why I encourage everybody to do it. And hopefully, if somebody's out there watching this, and I know people are, check this out. You can be a beast too. It ain't nothing keeping you from being beast. And AI is gonna make you even like a cyborg, bro. It's like I'm telling you, you're like a cyborg now. I'm like a freaking cyborg. I'm like on steroids right now. It's unfair. It's unfair.
Given your knowledge plus AI, it's
crazy. It's nuts. And what's cool is in the snowball effect. The AI, I'm asking AI the right questions. It's giving me the right answers, and then I learn more from it. So it's a self-fulfilling thing. It's crazy. It's unfair. I mean, and so what I want to do, if I'm alive for 20 more years, I want to be a billionaire, probably, because there's no way I can't be without all this information at my fingertips. Hey, I need a marketing plan for my new company. I need this for my new company. I need a business proposal for this. I need what? It's like, it's unfair. It's unfair. I don't like the positives to me far outweigh the negatives. And I'm sorry. I mean, there's all kind of theories of gray goo and singularity and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm not afraid of it. There's been so many people afraid of stuff all my life. And then what I see is the people that are afraid to use stuff and don't use technology are left behind. They're dinosaurs. I'd rather be a freaking cyborg than a dinosaur all day. Hopefully it makes sense. I'm sorry.
No, that's a great quote.
So, like, if somebody's interested in getting into learning AI, we're in the process at BlackGirlsHack of trying to develop a training program within AI. You've been basically, neck deep for the past 2 years. My guess is in our initial surveillance is that there hasn't been a lot of very formalized training in AI. So it's kind of been you got to go back to the documentation. You got to kind of get it how you live. What would you recommend to folks that are interested in immersing themselves in this topic at this point?
Okay, so there's two different fields that are emerging right now. One would be called traditional AI, machine learning, and all that stuff. There's a really good website called Kaggle, and it's KAGGLE.com. I think it's owned by Google now. But it actually teaches you machine learning, like traditional machine learning, where they give you data, they teach you how to clean data, they teach you how to train, they teach you the whole thing. It's free. Free 99. We'll teach you traditional. But you do need to know a little bit of Python. There's plenty of resources on learning Python too, right? So, and the new stuff, the GPT stuff, and how to write code and build stuff, I would say you can go to OpenAI's website, and they have really good quick start tutorials. Once you understand Python, you can actually start building large language model apps with that. There's also this really cool thing called LangChain that a lot of people are into. LangChain allows you to do some stuff, but quite simply, I would go to, if you want to learn a traditional machine learning, go to Kaggle. They have plenty of data, plenty of help, plenty of forums, and it's free. And OpenAI is tons of videos on how to create large language model based applications on YouTube. And like I said, begin to learn. The hardest thing to do is start. You feel me? Because it's the snowball effect. If I don't know anything about something today, start where you're at, snowball. You're going to get better at Google. You're going to get better at YouTube, and you're going to ask the AI. You can ask AI, hey, how do I program a freaking AI app? And it knows that now. It can teach you how to, it can teach you how to freaking do machine learning. It's really unfair. It's really unfair. So what I want, like in business, there's this thing, if anybody goes to business school, they talk about what's your unfair advantage, right? Because back in the day, people used to have, and still there's unfair advantages. But this should be everyone's unfair advantage. Like you should be using GPT, and you should find something. If you don't like that, you go to something you can do. Also, it's this really cool thing called Olama, right? It's y'all heard of that?
I've heard of llama. I haven't heard of Olama.
Yeah. Olama, OLL, llama. It's Olama. And so I think the website maybe olama.ai, maybe, or
olama.com. I see it.
Yeah. So olama.com. You can actually download this, and it's like Docker, and you can host your own models. So say if you can download Llama, right? Llama is a model that you can download with Olama, and you can run an LLM on your local workstation now, if you have a Mac, and I think Linux too. But you can run a large language model on your machine now. It's crazy. We're living in the future. I'm excited.
So do you think that this is going to help us to be able to solve like cybersecurity problems in a more efficient manner? Or do we still need humans to, I know you said that, the better you get, the better questions that you're going to ask, but like, are we within cybersecurity at risk in the future?
Well, so it depends on so I believe it's this really good book, and I'm looking up on my phone right now. The reason I'm looking away, and I just finished this book a while ago. I just want to make sure I get the name of it right, because this book actually talked about this. Cool. It's called The Fourth Age by Byron Reese. The Fourth Age. Now, what this book talks about is it talks about throughout the history of technology has always replaced jobs. There used to be people standing at corners holding lamps or whatever, like so people could see at night. Stuff like that. Like cheesy jobs that you would think, man, somebody got paid for that. Right? There used to be tons of horses in America because horses was the primary, it was the primary thing, right? But throughout that, even though the guy was holding a lamp or the person was riding a horse, they got to get better jobs than they had. So I think that AI, what it's going to do is replace the crappy jobs. This book is amazing, and it talks about it, and it makes a compelling argument, and I believe it. So you know how they've been saying, oh, there's a shortage for cybersecurity professionals? They've been saying that for years now, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you talk to some cybersecurity professionals, oh, it's boring. I'm burnt out. You hear that a lot too, right? The people that are in it say it's boring and they have to do the same mundane task. AI totally going to get rid of the mundane task. So if there's anything text-based, so the thing about traditional AI and machine learning was everything had to be structured to actually do the training, right? So it had to be structured data. So you have to parse the data, you have to label the data, and then you have to train, right? And that's hard. That requires a lot of stuff, and you got to know algorithms and all that stuff. The breakthrough with OpenAI and all these LLMs is that the data can be totally unstructured now. So anything a human can look at now, like if I'm looking at virus total and I'm looking at these domain lookup and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that and I'm looking at the registry, I'm looking at all that stuff is easily going to be outdone by LLMs, 100%. But what I think is that I think humans are our companion, right? AI is like the new dog. A dog's a man's best friend. I think AI is a man's best friend now, or a woman's best friend, right? Or a girl, or a black girl best friend. But by that, what I'm saying there is that anything that's text-based, and AI, these LLMs are amazing at it. And so they're going to be able to do stuff. You can escalate, like you can do escalations, you can close tickets, anything with API too, because you can do OpenAI functions, you can do functions now. So what you can do is it's going to be able to do a lot of those low hanging jobs, but you're still going to need humans that understand way more than that that low level stuff, you're going to still need humans to do many of those things. So again, it's going to make humans, oh, you don't have to worry about this mundane stuff. Maybe you can focus on reverse engineering now. Maybe you can do some, you're going to have to up your game. But again, the book, The Fourth Age, always says that what technology has done in general is it's made better jobs available. There's jobs that exist now that never would have existed without technology. Now you can actually train AI, and that's a high-paying job. You can write LLMs, and that's you can be a prompt engineer and make six figures. That's a new job. The AI,
I've seen that.
right? New jobs, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's so many positive things in any technology, fam. There's always been this pushback. There's always been this thing, and like I'm just telling you this like I want all my people to get on this, get on it now. And so you're gonna know what the deal is. You're gonna know the limitations. You don't know that without playing with it. I think this is blowing my mind. What we're doing with it, it's blowing my mind. I'm like on a bleeding edge. I'm probably about a year or two ahead of what most people are saying right now. And in my mind, it's blown. And I used to be a skeptic, by the way, fam. I was an absolute skeptic. I was like, this is trash. The tradition. I was 100% like, this is trash. But now I'm like, oh, this is lit. This is lit.
Was it the concept? Oh, go ahead, Tennisha.
I was just going to say, I think it's going to be a game changer because, like, just based off of what you're saying, because when we look at security, like, especially like if you're doing like offensive security engagements, right, what you typically do is you approach it from a risk perspective where we're saying, hey, we're going to hit the high risk, areas. We're going to hit the, try to prioritize as much as possible. But it sounds like, anything that's basically low hanging fruit, anything that's text based is going to be, automatable at some point by AI, and then that will basically leave the humans to address more high risk, more complex issues, which will naturally, I think, force us to basically up our game because the low level things will be identified immediately. Those will probably get incorporated into day to day. So just from an offensive security perspective, when we're looking at this, it's going to require us to get more into the details of things in ways that the systems are not going to be able to. So from that perspective, like that's super exciting in my mind.
100%. Couldn't said it better. Also, if you look at some like the incident response side, the consultant side for sure, it's going to be able to look at way more data. Consultant, you get on site, if you're a consultant, you got all this documentation. Now you can take that documentation, throw it to the LLM. It can pull out and you can ask questions and speak to it. And a thing that you're going to hear a lot about in the next couple of years is called RAG. And there's a couple of different versions of this. It's retrieval augmented generation, where it can use those documents like security policies, all that stuff. It'll use all that stuff. And then it will give you more information quickly. Like you don't have to read those docs now. You can just boom, put it into a RAG thing, upload them somehow.
What should I be looking at?
Have a conversation.
Quick question then. So when you mentioned as a child watching war games, you were excited about that. Now you're still have built on that optimism and you're living what you expected when you were younger. But you also mentioned there was a moment where you thought, "Oh, this is trash." What about it did you think was trash? Was it the concept, the way people were it was being implemented, or because I think understanding what your possible negative feelings were would also help speak to other folks who are still there, even though that you've since switched, I guess. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I can definitely explain it pretty well. I'll be recommending a lot of books. Do audiobooks because they're awesome. I do audiobooks, by the way. When I'm in the car, whatever. There's this really good book called On Intelligence, right? In that book, On Intelligence, what it talks about is how the traditional AI stuff has usually been only good for one thing, very narrow focused. Very narrow focused. And then half the time it's trash at that too. So many of these models that we were training before in traditional are very narrow scoped. It could do one thing and one thing well. Like if you start doing AI, if you start doing some of the calculus stuff, you'll do something like a prediction thing where you're going to predict how much ice cream you're going to sell based on the temperature, right, outside. So very narrow stuff. Now it can do more complicated stuff, right? But it's going to be very specifically focused, and you have to train it on that particular thing, right? So sometimes those things go wrong, and then you have to retrain it again. It takes a long time, and you need to have somebody that's making high six figures, 200, 300, 400K, up to $1 million a year for some of these people to work for you to get you outcomes. But those outcomes are very limited. They can do 1, 2, maybe 3 outcomes a year if they're working for you full time. So you're spending millions of dollars on that crew, and they're giving you a couple of outcomes a year. Compare that to the large language models. You can build an agent to pretty much do anything, and you can do, like I said, the RAG stuff to pull in more information, and you have an expert at anything, right? And you can build these are simple as upload some documents, and now it knows every Supreme Court case ever and can talk about it. That's ridiculous. I mean, before, like I said, slow outcomes. And then if the outcomes are wrong, you have to do this whole cycle over again. You have to clean the data. The data had to be structured. You need a data scientist to clean the data. You need to host this in a database, like all this other stuff. In the future, what you're going to see, and this is a great business for somebody to create out there, you know how just like I can go to Audible on my phone right now, or you can go to iTunes. Every book in the world is going to be available as like, all right, cool. I want that book, and I want an agent on that book. Or, hey, all the books that I have on Audible, I want to be able to ask them any question right now, and it'll give me the answer for it. You kidding me? I mean, you can. We're living in the future. And talking about education, take all the books at Princeton or all the books at Harvard or all the whatever, and put them in an agent. And now I can ask a little agent that has a Harvard education. Come on now, it's unfair. I mean, I don't understand.
I was about to say, like, that sounds like that would make my literature review like absolutely freaking easy, because at that point you just say, hey, find me relevant topics, find me books and articles that are on this topic that are relevant to my research. You know what I'm saying? It would cut a lot of the need for human interaction and reading, and you know what I'm saying?
That's low. So there is no value in you doing all that looking for the documents. Yeah, once you have the documents, read it and understand it, blah, blah, blah. But why should you go through? It's just like old school, like, oh, you can't use the internet, you have to go to the library. You feel me? Now it's like, nah, I'm gonna have all the documents, and I can search for the document, and I'll get all the citations, I'll do all the academic work like you want me to do, right? And that's just like people, you can't quote Wikipedia, stuff like that. So I'm like, bro, we are living in the future, and I just wish more people embraced it. The only downside of this is, like I said, like I do think that there's going to be idiots that I heard and do the wrong thing. I used to think the internet, when I was young, I was around 8 again, and we went to like a flea market or a garage sale, and my mom bought me these encyclopedias. It's called Funk and Wagnos. Shout out to all the old people out there that know what I'm talking about. Right. So I had this cheap set of encyclopedias that somebody was throwing away at the garage sale, and my mom bought it or whatever, right? So I read those encyclopedias back to back, like A to Z. And I always thought when the internet came along, I was like, well, people aren't going to be ignorant because they can actually read information. I honestly to God believe that. I was like, man, people are going to have all these biases because they can read, like, oh, there was this, there was slavery and all these different things, right? And then lo and behold, we got laws trying to ban slavery being taught in schools and all this, all this weird stuff happening. And so I'm not naive when it comes to people, reshuffling the situation. Of course, there's going to be evil people out there that do stuff. But my hope is that people on the good side, we use our superpowers for good. You see, I'm a big superhero fan. You probably can see all these action figures and stuff, right? So, you know, use your superpowers for good. Yeah, the bad guys are going to do evil stuff. But what are we going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to go to a library and do some research to thwart what they're doing. No. Ask the AI, what's the worst possible scenario that can happen to my business? Or what's the worst freaking hack? Oh, there's this new malware out there. How do I prevent that? Why don't you do that? You know what I'm saying? Instead of like shutting down. It's just sad to me. I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe that they letting the evil people win because they're not trying to take up and do stuff. Hopefully I'm not crazy.
No, not at all. I was just going to say that I always think when they put out, I think it was maybe like 6 months ago, they were like, hey, there was an open letter and they were like, we think that you should put a pause on OpenAI and LLMs, for 6 months to give us some time to kind of, from a regulatory and compliance perspective, get it together, make sure it's safe, and before we move on. And it was like an open letter. I think 30,000 people had signed it. And when I think about things like healthcare applications where they're like uh, there's bias, of course, for between a Black person that's looking for an organ versus a white person, or the fact that there's error rates as much as 30%, for Black women. When I hear things like that, my immediate knee-jerk response is, well, we need to start, getting more people involved in the research and the study of these things so that, when we start to see downstream impacts later on by having more diversity in the space. Right. But your perspective is a little bit different. It sounds like, hey, the technology's out here. We don't need to pause nothing. You need to learn how to use it as well as the bad guys are learning to use it. And from there, we need to figure out how to maximize the good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's a super interesting approach to it because, in my mind, I'm like, it's unusable. Like it error rates, what I'm saying? You're risking putting Black women into jail for, the rest of their lives because this system can't tell the difference between like a me and a Beck, right? I'm like, this is not something we should be using. Yep. But you're like, hey, maybe it's not great in that application, but there are some other things that we can use it for that would allow us to basically free up some mental human power to be able to research some bigger problems by allowing it to take basically the low hanging fruit.
100%. You gotta like what we should be doing is figuring out what it's good at and what it's bad at, right? My problem that I see a lot is let's not just use it. And then when you bring up stuff, and not you, but I'm saying when people bring up stuff like, oh, it's bias against Black people, facial recognition is terrible, whatever. Yeah, I definitely think that there's problems. Identify the problems, right? It's the saying, don't throw the baby out to the bathwater, right? Yeah, those are definite problems. I'm not denying any of that, right? But we need people in the room, again, like I said, we need people in the room doing stuff. But the amount of breakthroughs that I'm seeing, and because I'm actually not just using chat on the internet, I'm building like crazy large scale applications that are solving real problems and getting real outcomes for people. And so what I want people to do is I want them to be able to, this right here is like, I mean, people are comparing it to the iPhone and things of that nature. I believe that, where this is a brand new thing. And like, how there was app stores and all these economies popped up around it. So I think there's a huge financial thing where if people, from underprivileged backgrounds or whatnot, or however you want to do it, like people like me that grew up poor, like if you want people to really win, this is what they need to be. They need to be on the latest and greatest technology, and they need to be at the forefront of it.
Two things from what y'all were just saying. It going fast and us adjusting as it's going instead of stopping. This made me think of like a racetrack. We just need more qualified pit crew because, it's going to take a few seconds, and the better the crew is, the shorter of a lag it is, or whatever the technical term is for whatever the people speeding around the race it would be. But more or less, that's what we need. So it can continue to do what it needs to do, stay in the game, continue the race, but be prepared to add those things as it's going. So that's the best thing that I could think of to visualize that in my head, as long as in line with what you were saying. But then also with you mentioned the library, and I think sometimes what people have an issue with is that they only can see one side, and they can't, they don't give themselves the freedom to have more than one opinion. So like, I love books. I love hardbound actual books. And the conspiracy theorist in me says, if I have a written hardbound book, I'm less concerned about someone potentially changing it, the information that's in there, you know what I'm saying? But I have it. So what's written is there and exists. But that doesn't mean that I don't still leverage what's available to me on the internet. If I'm doing research reporting, it's going to be easier for me to use that. And I think people need to give themselves permission to realize that both can be true at the same time. I loved, like you mentioned with the encyclopedia, all the information was already available to me. I can thumb through. I didn't even know what I was looking for, but it was there and I could read it and consume it. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Equally, at the same time, you could still leverage the internet, as is mentioned, exactly as you said, as a tool to improve.
Yeah, 100%. Also, and on that, like, there's still places. Well, they funded all the libraries, right? Like, I mean, there's not a lot of libraries you can go pick up a book, and most of the libraries are, well, I've been in, are like more like internet cafes now, right? Where they have all the internet, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that what I like about the internet and the technology and even OpenAI is some kid, where I'm from, can now go on the internet and they can talk to AI that has all this information that they would never have access to somebody like that. They wouldn't have access to somebody like me, and where I can, I mentor a lot of people and I talk to a lot of people, but they don't have access to me. If they were coming up, they don't need Marcus. They can ask an AI as they grow and learn more about cybersecurity. The AI can teach them now. I mean, come on now. In that, I can't afford college. I can't do, whatever. I can't afford a red team, course or whatever. You got AI can definitely help you with that. No cap, 100%. So I think this is liberating. I mean, this to me is like, one of the things I wanted to do, and this my big goal is I wanted to create a college, and I think that I can still get there. I want to create an educational institution. By the way, that's kind of like if I knock it out of the park, it's going to be a college that I create. But one step at a time. But now that I know this, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to use AI to create all the curriculum. I'm going to use AI to create. I might create some kind of humanoids that you can interact with. That's your professor. I mean, it might be virtual, like we're talking here, but that's 100% possible now. No cap, that's possible, and it lowered now I don't have to go out and get a bunch of writers to write different literature. I can say, AI, create me an outline that would be for an English 101 course. Create me an outline to be in psychology course. Oh, now based on that outline, write me a psychology book that I can give away for free. Oh, write me slides. Write me a script to teach these things. I mean, come on now. This is unfair. Like, it solves so many problems for us. And that's when I think that I see all the other stuff too. I mean, like I said, I thought a lot of stuff would be different. I thought the internet was going to be different. I mean, heck, whether people like Barack Obama, I thought having a black president would make us less racist. It seemed like it made us more racist in the country. Like, it's like everything that I know 100% that stuff is going to go wild with. I'm not, yeah, but how about what are the good people doing with this ability? And that's why we need Avenger type people. We need people that's out there handling their business. You know what I'm
Yeah.
Absolutely.
saying? Any more questions?
Look, mine's about to be a superhero question. Like, if you could be anyone, who would you be and why?
I think my favorite superhero. Funny enough, I'm a Tony Stark's fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause he's an inventor. So I always fancy myself being, Iron Man, because I like the fact he's an inventor. But I like anything like that. People that invent stuff, and that's what I'm doing. And like I'm I'm on this computer, or I got another computer back here. You see my computer's situation.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, you see that little? I love like this too. I did that painting, anonymous painting too. That's funny. I mean, well, it's a Guy Fawkes mask, but
Remember.
So I have at least one more question. You are a hip hop head, music head. I know that recently there was like some diss tracks that came out that were attributed to be from AI. Do you think that AI is going to change the way that music looks in the future?
I think so. I think so because if I'm a music artist, I always have a positive take on this stuff. If I'm Drake or some other artist like that, I would actually license my voice, my likeness, and you could use it for whatever AI you want to. Right? That's what I would do. If I
Are
had
you getting royalties if you were a Drake, or you're
100%.
just saying just take
Yeah,
my
let them
voice?
go ham. Use my voice. Use likeness of my voice. Go ham. Make much music I want to, but I get royalties. I think
So,
that's
but
gonna
what
happen.
if the content, like, I feel like different people get into, like, you talk about hip hop versus
I
rap,
mean,
the pop culture part of it, but
there could be like different things. Like I may have to agree. Just like when you sample a record now, it's the same thing, right? If I sample a record, I don't like the record. No, you can't use my sample. That happens all the time. Some of my favorite hip hop songs ever. Back in the day, used to bootleg the samples, but then you go
mm-hmm.
back and listen to the sound now. Oh, they took the sample out of it, right? So it would have to be legal. There's legal implications. They would have to sort that out. All the lawyers can get that sorted out. But it totally makes sense. If I have a beautiful voice and I can get paid off the use of that, how my voice sounds, I'd be crazy if I didn't let people use that. That's crazy. Like I think all these industries are going to come around. I got a good friend in Hollywood. The writers are against AI now, but I think that there's going to be a whole thing where people are going to use AI to do the whole shebang. They're gonna hey, create me a script and boom, do me a movie. That's happening, and there's nothing people can do. So I would say like whatever industry you're in, like I think it's gonna make people level up the game. To be honest with you, I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
am so optimistic about this that it's crazy. People gonna think I'm nuts, but I think it's just gonna make you level up, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I think just think we need to level up in general. That's the kind of person I am. So if you hang around me or you're in my orbit, I'm always pushing people to level up. You know what I'm saying? Because like literally, you know, I just like that optimism. I mean, I think I'm blessed. I said I'm blessed because I always want to learn, always want to level up. And like a lot of people don't have that mentality. And I reinforce that mindset with everything I do. I listen to the right books. I kind of follow the right people. Even if somebody you don't have to have like even if you can't get access to a mentor. That's why I wrote Tribe of Hackers, by the way, so people could get access to what people thought. Because people would always want to talk to these kind of like famous type hackers or whatever, but they never got a chance to talk to them. So like, hey, look, hey, I'm gonna ask y'all questions and y'all tell people what y'all think, and that's been a blessing to people. So I'm continuously, and that's why I love what y'all do at Black Girls Hack because this is something that's needed, and people just to continue to like encourage people and tell them they could do it because like you know I'll be telling people, man, when I was growing up, I was born in my grandmother's house. That's how country I am, right? I was born in a house, right? Outhouse, no running, no sewage. I grew up like I was homeless a lot growing up. My senior in high school, I think I must have lived in 6 different houses and on people's couches and whatever. Right. So I just tell people like, man, if I can like get to where I'm at and have a good career and people think I'm awesome sometimes. If I can do it, I came from the mud. That's what we say in the hood. I got it from the mud. But I continue to encourage people, and I encourage y'all to embrace technology. I've always embraced technology. The one time I didn't embrace cryptocurrency at first, but now I think it's a good idea. There's a lot of good aspects about the technology.
Mhm.
The community, a lot of the crypto community scammers, but again, do not always look for the positive use cases of the technology, people. Look for the positive. Always look for the positive. It's easy to see the negative stuff. It's easy to rip stuff apart. It's easy to criticize people and all that stuff. But like how can we flip anything and for how can it be positive? And like I said, the good people need cybersecurity. The good people need to know how to code. Good people need to know how to use AI. We need good people in every aspect of life. Because if your fear is that it's gonna fall in the wrong hands, I'm like, that's not my fear. I think I'm better than the bad guys. And so, that's I'm like, I be thinking the opposite of people. I'm like, it's unfair. It's unfair for the competition. You feel me? That's the mentality I like the people to have.
But you know what? If my name was Marcus J Carey, I would think it would be unfair also because you're kind of a big deal. So
Look, Tennisha Martin, you kind of a big deal yourself too. So
y'all are amazing, and like I said, I love the mission you all do, but and keep on doing it. I know that it's not easy being positive all the time. It's not easy being a blessing to people. Sometimes you can feel used. There's a lot of people out there doing good stuff. Sometimes you feel some kind of way, but I would say, and it's a biblical reference. I know some people hate religion and stuff like that, but this is it's like a story of Jesus healed 10 people, right? And only one person came back and told him thanks, right? And Jesus said, "Where are the 9?" Right? There's 90% of people I blessed out there that they ain't come back and say thank you. So my message to y'all is keep on being a blessing, like keep on helping people out, and don't worry about people coming back to thank you, right?
yeah.
Do not worry about that. Your presence is being felt. Your positive impact is being felt. All that's being it's happening, right? You're being that blessing, and sometimes you might not know it, but that's all. It's all good. We don't do it for the recognition, right? Just do it.
One of
Just
my
keep
favorite quotes,
on good.
because Snakes mentioned your hip hop head too, is Lauryn Hill, where she goes, "Jesus Christ was a superstar. You stupid star. They hail you, they nail you, no matter who you are."
For
And
sure.
it definitely, exactly as you said, if you're on the right path and you're doing what you're supposed to do, carry on. Because if they did that to Jesus, we can't
One
expect
thing,
much more.
and another saying is a prophet is not welcome in their own town.
hey,
Mm,
So the people that know you, this is the thing. The people that know me from where I'm from, oh, they think of old bummy Marcus that had to borrow. His cousin gave him his hand-me-down shoes. He used to be made. I used to get made fun of because I was broke and poor. But I go back home, they think of me like that.
mm.
And when people in the industry, they sometimes think I'm cool, right? But you cannot worry. You gotta surround yourself with good people and bring in positive influences and just keep on being badasses. All the black girls out there hacking, y'all just continue to do your thing.
awesome. All right. Well, this has been another episode of AI Thoughts Online with Rebekah Skeete and Marcus J Carey. Thank you guys for coming out today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.